Welcome to Powerball. I love the lottery. I don't love the lottery as a economic construct of people praying and hoping that this is their chance of success. I like the lottery because it gives you a chance to dream. Okay, gives you a chance to think about your goals in a way that's not constrained. Most of the time, we wave things off. I can't give. I don't have enough capital. I can't even conceive life without going to work in the morning and shaving and all that. So the lottery gives us this chance to think really big and in a way that we normally don't let ourselves. And that's what I like about it. And when the lottery is crazy, like over $1 billion, I really like to think about it in a bigger stance. Like, what would I do with this wealth? And how does that impact my community? And then can I scale down changes? Right? Let's say that if I won the lottery, I would give $10 million to the University of Illinois. Well, even if I don't win the lottery, can I give a few hundred? Right? So you can think down, like, can I impact the world on a different scale? And generally that does impact behavior, thinking, even retirement. You can think about a little bit with this lottery lens on. But let's talk about how much you actually win, because I think that's kind of a fun conversation. There's two options when you win a big lottery. The first is that you chunk your winnings into about 30 units. There's a bit of a discount because you get a little bump every year, an inflation bump, but effectively, it's a inflationary adjusted 30-year period of income. Not many people take that. A lot of people take what's called a lump sum. And the lump sum amount is always different than the promised payments. That might confuse people. So let's start with that conversation. It's a good refresher of time value money. Let's say the lottery is $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion gives us this idea of, okay, how much would that be over 30 payments, right? And so if we look at that over 30 payments, that means that each year you'd get around 43 million. And we know that that actually gets inflated by about 5% a year. So you get about 42 million and it inflates up every year. And you're going to get that for 30 years and then it stops. Okay. Now, personally, I'd love even one of the $43 million payments, but if you win $1 billion lottery, you get 30 of them. The alternative the lottery gives you is you can take what's called a present value. So instead of promising you those 30 years, they just write you a check today, they're done with it and move on. In this case, how much is that check today? Because then we're going to take that check today and throw it in something else later. That check today, if you use a time value money calculator, you could calculate it like this. First up, they're going to discount your lottery winnings. And today that discount rate, interest rates are high. It's about 8%, give or take. So you're going to assume then that you get that 43 million a year. You're going to get it for 30 years. We'll discount that at 8% and 30 years of payments. And what you wind up with, you get a lump sum today of about 526,864,000, and that's a before tax lump sum. But that 526,864 gives us a dollar amount that we can mess with, right? 526,864. So we can look at that and kind of take that onto our next page. So that's going to be calculating the gross before tax amount, 526,864. So if you took your 526,864, I think 260, give or take, right? That amount, that's going to be the gross that you make before any taxes are taken out. So how much are you going to have after taxes are taken out? Well, the highest federal rate today is about 37%. If you're in the great state of Illinois, you have a 4.95% state tax. Let's assume at the 526 million level, you're effective. Yes, you get a few deductions. But if you don't do any good tax planning, let's assume it's around 37%. I understand there's some marginal rates, but at the 526 million level, those marginal rates are fairly de minimis. So what we would do is to figure out a lump sum is we would go ahead and take that amount, that 526 million, and we'd multiply that times 1 minus your total tax rate, which I think was we'll go ahead and sum that up. We'll take this plus this, have a little fun with it, okay? And what you'll wind up with is around $305 million net of tax that you can keep today. Well, let's get a little more nerdy with that. Let's assume then that we do have this, we'll go ahead and link it over, 305,844. And let's assume then that you can earn 9% in the market and you're going to want money every month. And so let's say that you want to say, what's 50 years? If I take this money over 50 years, how much of a payment can I calculate for myself? So let's give this a shot. What we're going to have then, if we assume we take that lump sum of 305, 703, okay? We assume 600 months, so we'll do 50 years of payments, and we can earn 9% annually. We'll put it in the market, a stock weighted portfolio. How can you live? Well, you'd be able to live on $2.3 million a month, friends, for the next 50 years. And you may say, Craig, that's not enough. I need to live for more than 50 years. You could do 100 years. And you'd see, you're still effectively getting around 2.2 million a month for the next 100 years. So in the end, it's a lot of money. 305 million is a lot of money net of taxes. 526 million is a lot of money before taxes. What does that translate into? Throw your money in the market, you get around 2.3 million a month indefinitely. And I hope then, as we dream about the lottery, we see how time value of money plays into the lottery and nerd it up a little. But that maybe impacts kind of go buy a ticket, spend a buck or two, lets you daydream a little bit. And those daydreams can reflect in real changes to behavior as we approach goals like retirement, giving, and that kind of stuff. Hope you enjoy.